Alright, no turn to play. Yeah, but who needs a turn to play when we can just make land drops? We could play Expressive Iteration on 3, which, you know, doesn't really do anything, but... yeah. Playing against Black-White Triumphant Adventurer.deck, huh? Okay, well, we can Fading Hope that, I suppose. Or... well, now ain't this awkward. I guess I don't actually want lands, do I? So this isn't actually awkward at all. I just take Overcharged Amalgam. My innate need to take a land with Expressive Iteration and put it into play led me to believe that I didn't really have choices here, but I very much do have choices here, because I have an untapped red source in hand and can just kill the Triumphant Adventurer. La-di-da. Elite Spellbinder. Oh no, my Calamity Bearer. It's going to be so expensive now. That's probably fine. Still, I don't actually have much in the way of the ability to do stuff here, which is slightly awkward. Oh, okay. Overcharged Amalgam is gone. Why not? Well, then let's just go ahead and play the Mindlink Mech and the Fading Hope. Probably not going to Fading Hope the Elite Spellbinder, but I can Fading Hope whatever they play next after it. We're a long way off from the 7 mana needed to play Calamity Bearer and Glasspool Mimic in the same turn. But, oh well. Take a bit of damage. Sure. What's your follow-up, opponent? Did you expect that I was going to Fading Hope the Spellbinder for you? Because that was not one of the plans on my radar. Geistwave versus Fading Hope. What does Geistwave do? I think Geistwave's just straight up worse than Fading Hope. Because about 100% of the time you want to hit the opponent's creature. So costing 1 extra mana is kind of really bad. And then Fading Hope also just gets to scry. Huh. We did all that pre-combat. Did we? Odd, but okay. Or we did all that post-combat so that we didn't actually get the Luminarch Aspirant trigger. I guess if they had pre-combated the Luminarch Aspirant, then I would have Fading Hoped the Elite Spellbinder. I wouldn't have, because I would be worried about them still post-combating it, but they lacked another white source, so they played around it. Okay, so they can turn Valky into a 0/0 here, if they wanted to fizzle my Fading Hope. Which they probably don't want to do. I'm actually kind of tempted to not Fading Hope here. And I think I'm going to not Fading Hope here. Because what I want to do instead is hold Fading Hope to remove Elite Spellbinder as a blocker next turn, so that my Mindlink Mech can get in for lethal, since currently the opponent is at 4 life. Had the Valky taken the Calamity Bearer, I would have had to Fading Hope the Valky so that I could play the Calamity Bearer, but for some reason they took a creature I didn't care about. People seem to be moving Geistwave because it gives card advantage when you save your own stuff, whereas Fading Hope is never card advantage. I think both are never card advantage. Like, Geistwaving your own stuff is spending 2 mana and requiring you to replay a card. I don't want to Fading Hope my own stuff anyway. I want to Fading Hope the opponent's creatures to recover tempo. Ooh, 2 blockers in the air. Oh no.
You require my aid. How desperate. I will get what I want.
Okay, so they can't attack with everything here. They get to it. Oh, they don't attack with anything. Interesting. Okay. Huh. So they can block Mindlink Mech and then double block Calamity Bearer. Or they could just chump, get more loyalty on Lolth. I assume I'm supposed to Fading Hope a Spellbinder, because Spellbinder can block and kill Mindlink Mech, even if I'm regaining... or we could just top lethal. That works. Boop. Even if I'm re-giving them the ability to play Elite Spellbinder, it's not like I actually have a hand full of cards where, like, I need to protect them from Spellbinder. Anyway. Alright, let's see. Stowaway and Hermit are, like, moderately interesting here, but my opponent's so far playing mono 1 toughness creatures, so I gotta say, it's really tempting to just cut my 1 toughness 2-drops and play more Cinderclasms. Have I thought about playing the weird sorcery that gives a giant trample and draws a bunch of cards? So, a general deck building principle that I usually try to incorporate in everything, and this is not to say that it's always correct, but that it's just the default heuristic I apply, is that I don't like cards that are only good in combinations with other cards, that, like, in combinations with very specific cards, and that have no other uses beyond that. So, like, the sorcery that gives a giant trample and draws a bunch of cards is good in a very specific situation where we have already assembled our combo that is good at winning the game. Whereas, instead of that, if I play something like Fading Hope is also a way to make that combo better, but also is just good on its own and, like, gives me more ways to spend my mana efficiently to curve out and, like, keep board parity. That tends to be where my bias runs in terms of how to build decks. I'm leery about playing Suspicious Stowaway with Cinderclasms. And actually, I should also probably cut Fading Hope for Flame Blessed Bolt, too. But, like, Cinderclasm looked so good against them. We do technically have more giants, because we have the Hall of the Storm Giants, too. But, yeah, it's mostly... Cards should generally be evaluated in the context of how they play out on curve, because that is the average use case for the majority of cards. And if a card doesn't do something during a typical curve out, or even just like a slightly atypical curve out, then it tends to not be worth including, in my opinion. Howdy, Opie. Happy Friday to you, too. And we have indeed attempted to start including win cons. Will I participate in the Croquis tournaments? Probably not. It's kind of an early tournament. Can I copy opponent stuff with this? No, didn't think so. Yeah, a 2-drop that you don't want to play on 2 is pretty rough, because that means that it's more of like a 2-drop that you want to play on turn 4, and then you also need to have a lot of 2-drops so that you can actually use your turn 4 mana efficiently, because by saying that you're going to play a 2-drop on turn 4, it means that you're not going to play a 4-drop on turn 4. It just gets awkward. Alright, so that takes Calamity Bearer, which leaves us in a pretty rough spot, because this Luminarch Aspirant's basically going to win the game. It's not even really close here that the opponent should take Calamity Bearer. Like, I get that playing Glasspool Mimic, like, sort of denies us a 3-drop, but Calamity Bearer is so much better. Yeah, trying to play in the Croquis tournaments I can sort of do if I plan ahead for it, but that, like, requires reorienting my entire sleep schedule. Which I sort of want to use my weekend for playing Elden Ring, so that's likely not going to happen. Alright. It is painful to kill my own Seafaring Werewolf here, but I suspect that's what I'm going to do. But I'm not going to prevent the 4 damage from Spellbinder. I want to Cinderclasm after they play another creature. Ooh. But they wind up not playing a 1 toughness creature. First non-1 toughness creature they've showed us all game. Harsh. If I Cinderclasm, I kill Spellbinder, then I play Calamity Bearer, Raidane becomes a 3/4. I think I'm not supposed to Cinderclasm here. Another Cinderclasm, but I'm short on red mana. Interesting. I kind of committed to streaming Elden Ring, and so now I feel like I can't play it off stream, but like, I really want to play more, but I've been feeling like I should also stream Magic, but I couldn't figure out any Magic decks to stream, so like, I've been between a very awkward rock and hard place. I'm assuming that I should probably just make this block. Otherwise, that's a little too much damage. That is a lot of Cinderclasm. Okay, well, I can wipe the board here, which I'm assuming I should probably do. The question is if I kill Raidane now or take the 2 damage and try to Cinderclasm post-board, which is slightly better if my opponent winds up casting Lolth post-combat. Oh, I should show off the white-blue Hinata Alchemy deck at some point. It's the deck that I most wished I had registered for the last set championship, given the metagame that showed up, but not the metagame I was expecting. Okay, well, let's try to kill Raidane then, since the opponent didn't actually do anything else. Guardian of Faith. Aha. Alright, well, I probably can't... Oh, I can beat that. Cool. Unfortunately, I am going to allow the opponent to replay Guardian of Faith to protect their Raidane, because I'm going to have to bounce the Guardian of Faith. I'm also dead to an instant speed removal spell here, but what can you do? Yep. That's not terribly surprising. I guess I could have Fading Hoped the Raidane and then Cinderclasm the Guardian of Faith. Maybe that was better. That was probably better. Because then I actually had the ability to play the Overcharged Amalgam actually blocking the Raidane on the next turn. Yeah, that definitely would have been better. Alright, so what I have decided is that I actually wished I had Abrades instead of Suspicious Stowaways, and probably Fading Hopes instead of Suspicious Stowaways too. Yeah, I've been kind of bummed about Alchemy. I think the format itself is, like, excellent and cool and interesting, and I want to play more of it, but the vibe is not so great. The whole idea of fast digital rebalancing of cards is something that I am inherently very into. I think that is a way of maintaining a game ecosystem that I just generally approve of. But it requires people to be able to play it and actually engage with it for me to be, like, excited to create content around it. What you got, opponent? Please just play a... What is that name of that 3/1? No! I needed that for making treasures. Oh well. This is what we have Fable of the Mirror Breaker for. Aha! Well, given that I accidentally played that land without thinking about it, and now I can't really Expressive Iteration, I guess I'm just going to play the Mindlink Mech. Oh, no. Playing the Mindlink Mech is correct, because I'm about to flip Fable of the Mirror Breaker anyway. Alchemy being all City Stalker mirrors, I think, is kind of... The set championship showed that Fable of the Mirrorbreaker was, like, sort of secretly one of the strongest cards in the... Oh, cool, that's the wrong card to Vanishing Verse. It was secretly the, like, strongest card out of the new set, and it just is kind of automatic that, well, if you want to put the best card in your deck, the best card to go with the best card is City Stalker Connoisseur, so you should probably be playing City Stalker Connoisseur. Alright, let's see. I don't want lands, so I guess I want Abrade. And then we'll just play this Glasspool Mimic then. Boop. Alright, we got some reflections. Does the opponent have removal for one or more reflections? No, they have a Loth. Okay.
Envy the strong, for their subservience will be rewarded.
Got it. Let's pass and see what the opponent does. We have set up the ability to make a lot of Kiki-Jiki tokens. So we can swing at the opponent for 12 if we want to, which probably want to. Triumphant Adventurer, sure. Alright, I would like to make a copy of Kiki-Jiki, opponent. Is that cool? Sweet. I would like to make a copy of this Kiki-Jiki token, opponent. Is that cool? Sweet. I'd like to make a copy of this Kiki-Jiki token. Cop Kiki, maybe. And then a copy of this one. Uh-huh. And then a copy of this one. And then a copy of this one. Sweet. Alright, and then, let's see, do I kill the Loth, or do I do a bunch of damage to my opponent's face? Choices. Let's go ahead and kill the Loth. And then kill the opponent. Well, not really kill them, but damage is cool. Now I could play Mindlink Mech, which is better if the opponent actually has an instant speed removal spell for one of these Kikis. I'm probably supposed to hedge my bets here, especially since I can use the rest of my mana to Flame Blessed Bolt and Abrade anyway. Okay, no instant speed removal spell from the opponent. Curious. We've also got our opponent's life total low enough that top decking a giant currently makes Mindlink Mech lethal. Probably should have Flame Blessed Bolt that Triumphant Adventurer, but I guess all they get to do on the first venture is scry anyway? Is that right? No, they can gain a life. But no, they choose to scry. Meetup with Kiki-Jiki is pretty cool, since the tokens actually get sacrificed, so you end up pinging the opponent for each one. It makes copying Blood Artist with Kiki-Jiki extremely hilarious. Alright, let's go ahead and make a copy of Kiki-Jiki. The Wandering Emperor. Alas, this kills the Kiki-Jiki.
Finally, I'm home.
Yeah, I can't really untap it. I guess I don't actually have to respond to this in any meaningful way.
I am almost sad to see you go.
And then we get to make a copy. And then we get to make a copy. Then we go to our turn, and we probably win the game, I would assume. Now, how much damage is this anyway? I feel like this is a lot of damage. No, opponent, come back! No, I need to know how much damage that is! To be fair, they were going to be able to block 2 of them. Oh, no, how much damage? How much damage? So 4 times 4, 8, 16. 4 times 16 is 64. 64 damage per Calamity Bearer. 64 times 3 is 180 plus 12. 192 plus 4 is 196 damage if the opponent didn't block. This deck does a very good job of making Kiki look exciting. I agree. Although, really, Kiki is just kind of exciting on its own, but one of the cool combinations you can do with it is silly stuff when you have 2 Kiki-Jikis, and it just so happens that this deck getting to play a bunch of clones in addition to Mindlink Mech makes it much, much, much more likely that you end up with 2 Kiki-Jikis for whatever reason. And we'll play this. It's got a 2-drop on 2. And it's got a cup. Oh, wait. Huh. For some reason, that's going to be tricky to get used to. I see this, and I automatically assume that, oh, monocolored land that isn't a basic. That makes it, whatchamacallit, all the Storm Giants. So I'm happy that it backs me up and asks me, hey, are you sure you want to play this land that you should never want to play on turn 1? Ooh. The Mindlink Mech is tempting. No, all of my cards are good. What am I supposed to do? Alright, no Glasspool Mimic. I think I'm supposed to get the mana acceleration down earlier if possible. And you see the blue-white deck with an Otta. Yeah, remind me when this game is close to ending and I'll pull that up. Oh, I really need to make and post a meme that's just that. The Office meme of somebody being asked to tell the difference between 2 pictures, and it's just Fable of the Mirror Breaker and Isika's Chariot. And the secret is they're just the same card. Let's see. I'm awfully tempted to just shock Shatterskull Smashing so that if the opponent double blocks Goblin Shaman, I can Otawara the token away and not have to use a treasure on that. But I should probably just be okay. Well, I'm probably just okay with my opponent doing that, and then I get to play another Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Yeah, that probably is fine for me. Overcharged Amalgam is pretty tempting. Unfortunately, all of my cards are excellent, which is kind of a problem. I'm really tempted to throw away Expressive Iteration here, but I kind of want to be able to rebuild after a board wipe. I'm anticipating that I'm playing Fable of the Mirror Breaker and Suspicious Stowaway and Otawara this turn, which means Expressive, Mindlink Mech, Overcharged Amalgam, and Shatterskull Smashing are my options for what to get rid of. Mindlink Mech feels too worthwhile to throw away. I guess I can probably throw away a duplicate Suspicious Stowaway here. I don't think that's too terrible of an option. In which case, I just play Fable of the Mirror Breaker and Shatterskull Smashing tapped, I guess? Why do we have Amalgam? Because copying it with the backside of Kiki is just often a very hard lock. And that combo is cool. I don't know if it's actually good or worth playing, but that combo is just cool. Are we playing with Orvar in this deck? No, I think playing with Orvar, which, for those who don't know, is the blue 4-mana clone that if you discard it, you get to clone a permanent. I think that's good in Alchemy, specifically because it hoses City Stalker Connoisseur in a cool way, but I don't think it's playable in Standard because there's no targeted discard in Standard. Isn't that going to win more? The nice thing about Overcharged Amalgam is that it can just be good on its own, so it doesn't have to be win more. It's just a playable card with upside. I think I'm supposed to Expressive Iteration here because I have cheap one-mana interaction that affects this attack being doable that I'd like to find. Kill Computer, thanks for the follow. Glad you're enjoying the stream. Although I made the noise, but okay, now it's popping up. There we go. Retrieve Socks. All right. We will do that after this game. Which might be pretty soon. Perfect. All right, well, Flameless Bolt isn't exactly what I was hoping for. Doesn't really interact positively with the Luminarch Aspirant. I guess I can bounce the Luminarch Aspirant, though? Or possibly the Bankbuster? I don't love that they're going to be able to draw a card with the Bankbuster, but... oh well. They're going to wind up not crewing when I attack, though. That doesn't actually work super well. Okay. New plan then. Can't attack with the 2/2. Gotta just attack with the Stowaway. Think we just discard the land here and play Mindlink Mech. And then we can start getting in with a Mindlink Mech that makes tokens on our next turn. Hopefully the opponent's out of Vanishing Verses by now. With the new 2-mana draw 2, what do you think about Grixis Death Shadow and Historic? I think nothing about Death Shadow decks and Historic because those are weird and I don't understand them. And don't feel qualified to really make any statements about them whatsoever. Death Shadow is weird. It's like the opposite of everything I understand about how to play Magic. Restoration of Iganjo. Okay, but with a different art so that I don't actually recognize it at all. Interesting. Yeah, presumably Luminarch Aspirant winds up putting a counter on itself, I would assume. Nope, on the 2/2. Well, that means I'm going to kill the 2/2. With Burn Down the House or Zerial, you could copy the Demon token and add ping damage as well. Yeah, that's true. I don't think Burn Down the House fits very much in the deck just because you don't generally want a 5-mana board wipe when you're a deck that's also about playing to the board with creatures. Yeah. I assume it's just pretty hard for the opponent to beat Mindlink Mech as an attacker that flies here. Although, I think that probably was slightly early as a concession. Okay, so let's figure this out. White, black, random stuff. I mean, I assume I'm supposed to bring in Annul against Bankbuster Festivity Restoration of Iganjo deck. I could probably play Hermit for slightly similar reasons. Maybe? I don't know if that's actually correct. But at the very least, I assume cutting Overcharged Amalgam for another Flame Blessed Bolt is probably fine. I actually do kind of want 2 Flame Blessed, or 2 Fading Hopes here, though. Alright, let's give that a go, and then I'm going to go grab the key. But the problem with the idea of Zerial adding haste to the combo is that, that still doesn't really work on curve, which means that I don't think that it adds as much as every other part of the combo that currently exists, which sort of functions on curve. I mean, Overcharged Amalgam doesn't, which is why it's kind of probably the worst slot currently used in the deck, but the combo there is too fun for me to cut it. The 6 alchemy packs that you got today are because you played in an alchemy event prior to today. The alchemy events were supposed to be giving alchemy card rewards, and were instead just giving random any card rewards. So they gave everyone who got affected by that 6 alchemy packs. And also fixed the issue today. Well, I think we're going to get there. Entered the event, but haven't played any games yet. We'll get 6 alchemy packs on top of the 6 I already got. Any event that you're in currently, you should just be correct. My understanding is that was essentially a reimbursement for previous events not giving out the correct rewards. It's not something you can get going forward from here. Yeah, we'll keep this. It was essentially an apology for something that was an error earlier. You really want to go, kitty? Am I not cozy enough for you? I kind of get the feeling the opponent's just slowly timing out. There should be events that are... was grinding historic events and still got those alchemy packs. So you never played an alchemy event at any point in like the last 2 or 3 weeks? Because my understanding is that it was alchemy events specifically that it was bugged for. It might have been that historic events also were supposed to be doing that? I'm unsure. Alright, well, looks like we got that win, I guess. Alright, opponent on the play. We don't have red mana. That's fine. We'll fix that eventually somehow. We get to play both of our Hall of the Stormgiants, which dramatically improves the likelihood that we end up finding top deck untapped lands. Probably. Spikefield Cave and Hall of the Stormgiants, huh? Curious. That bodes poorly for our likelihood of getting to use Fading Hope on anything anytime soon. But I guess at least we get to play out Mindlink Mechs. Curious what a blue-red list looks like right now that can't play Divide by Zero. So this is the part where I get hit by an Abrade? No, Prismari Command. They did 2 damage to my face. Why has opponent chosen a mode that does 2 damage to my face instead of making a treasure? Okay, that was weird. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and play Mindlink Mech again. I'm assuming this time around this gets Terraria Disruption. No? Okay. I remain confused. Oh, it's a Hinata deck. Playing Prismari Command? That's weird. But okay. Alright, well, let's go ahead and bounce that Hinata. Then we're going to play this red mana. Then we're going to play this Fable of the Mirror Breaker. And crew Mindlink Mech. And make a treasure. And do some damage to the opponent. And we won't really have Fading Hope for the Hinata, but I can hope my opponent doesn't have an untapped land. They do, which means they can Magma Opus me here on the upkeep, which kind of hurts. Let's go with discard Mountain, draw Mountain, not ideal. Alright, let's go ahead and Fading Hope the Hinata then. See what that convinces the opponent to do. March of Swirling Mist. Okay, well. Let's go ahead and create the Mindlink Mech so we can get some more treasure. And then I guess we'll Expressive Iteration looking for an unsummon. Failed to find one. So let's snag Mindlink Mech and exile Mindlink Mech. And play our land and play a Mindlink Mech. And then swing with our Goblin Shaman, get a treasure token. Okay. So the opponent didn't have Magma Opus. Now they untap with a Hinata in play, which is strong, but they're gonna kind of need to find a Magma Opus here. Now, if I were the opponent, what would I do? Well, I know what I would do if I was me, which is to say I don't think I would do anything. Although if they kill the reflection of Kiki-Giants on the end of my turn, life gets kind of awkward. Or rather, not at the end of my turn. Specifically before the end of my turn. If they do it on the end of my turn, that's fine. But I guess that means they have to do it in my main phase too, so I can just do nothing and... Okay, it's a weird time to wait for that. So I should be able to juke this with the right amount of dirtling around. Yeah, okay. Do I try to Expressive Iteration and hit a land here? I don't think so. Okay, so we go to the end of turn, and then we make another copy of this thing. Oh, no, this doesn't work. I needed to make one more copy. Oh, no, it does work. It just costs me a little more mana than I was wanting to believe it would. Okay. Now we're going to pass the turn with 2 Kikis in play, one of which is untapped. Perfect. Alright, so I still need to kind of hope my opponent doesn't have anything. Memory Deluge. Okay, that's not anything yet. So the opponent can Magma Opus to tap down 2 of our creatures and have a blocker for 1 of them, which leaves us with 3 hasty Mindlink Mechs in the air. Yeah. Okay. 2 hasty Mindlink Mechs in the air. The fact that I'm, like, allowed to do this is still so stupid. I love it so much. Okay. Holding full control. Copy again. Copy again. Copy again. Copy again. Alright. Now about that Magma Opus, opponent. I would like to... make a 4/3. And then play a Stowaway. And then crew this. Oh, wow, that has haste. I didn't even realize. Huh. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that's good game. I think I just attack with the squad here and it doesn't matter. Oh, that's so stupid. I love it. Oh. I didn't realize this just gets to come in as a 4/3 flying hasty Kiki-Giants Glasspool Mimic. Oh, it's also an artifact. Enchantment. Goblin Rogue Shapeshifter. Does Mindlink Mech have any other creature types? Well, it's a vehicle, I guess. Is it a vehicle? Are you a vehicle? I don't think you are a vehicle. Okay. Creature, artifact, enchantment, goblin, rogue, shapeshifter, vehicle, shaman. With flying and haste. This doesn't gain the sacrifice at the end of next turn, does it? I don't think it does. I think that's a separate trigger that doesn't get copied. Okay, so playing against Hinata, we're going to play 4 Disdainful Strokes, and no Fading Hopes, and 2 Malevolent Hermits, and no Flame Blessed Bolts. Does that seem good? Yeah, seems probably good. I don't think it would have sacrificed itself. No. I don't think it copies that part of the trigger, specifically because I believe that's a delayed trigger and not an inherent part of the card that's a copyable attribute. That trigger gets copied if you copy the effect that's creating the token, because the effect that's creating the token has that rider attached to it. But once the token has been created, it's no longer a part of the text on the token itself if you copy the token itself. Which is all to say, there's a difference between copying an effect creating a token and copying the token. I don't know if that's actually, like, understandable, but it is actually a little different. Alright, love a Disdainful Stroke. I don't know whether I should lead on Malevolent Hermit or Stowaway. I'm light on blue mana, either way, which means I'm probably not going to be able to hold up Hermit on turn 3, which means the upside of playing Stowaway is probably higher. I tried playing a Kiki-Giants Chariot deck. It sort of functioned. It's not like there were any bad cards involved in it. Wow, they didn't have anything to do. So I just get to draw cards with Seafaring Werewolf. Sweet. The main problem with my Kiki-Giants Chariot decks was just that, like, the rest of the shell around it was awkward. It's awkward that Asika's Chariot and Kiki-Jiki basically want you to play different kinds of cards. Yeah, so Parallel Lives duplicates the trigger or the effect that's creating tokens, which means the sacrifice it into turn bits still apply. Let's see, do I want to discard anything here? I guess I don't actually want to do that at all. I can maybe discard Glasspool Mimic and try to draw an untap land instead. Sweet. Alright, well, I feel like I basically can't lose this game here, so I'm willing to tempt fate in an interest to learn something new about how it's possible to lose this game. Let's go ahead and play Malevolent Hermit. Because the universe can feel free to prove me wrong, but it feels literally impossible for me to lose this game. I guess Cinderclasm here actually does hurt quite a bit. But apparently they don't have that. Oh, they could wait until now. No, wait, I have Malevolent Hermit to answer Cinderclasm, so I still don't care about that either. Alright, so I have almost infinity counterspells. I have pretty much infinity cards. Okay. I have lethal on board, plus double counterspell backup. So the opponent needs things that don't get countered by Disdainful Stroke. Prismari Command, destroy Malevolent Hermit. Okay, I actually weirdly am willing to pay to counter this, because it makes them lose mana. Either they pay the 3 for the Prismari Command, or they don't. Either way, they're not getting this treasure token, so they're only going to have 3 mana instead of 4 mana. Which matters to me in the sense that that 1 mana doesn't matter, and if my opponent plays something where I cast Disdainful Stroke, I win the game, so I don't care about the fact that I have to lose a treasure to cast Disdainful Stroke. Alright, so we're gonna play Calamity Bearer. Please don't concede, opponent. I do a bunch of damage. No! I forgot that I have to pay 1 mana to copy with Kiki-Jiki. I wanted to play Glasspool Mimic to copy this hasty Calamity Bearer to do another, like, 40 damage. Alright, well, we don't have blue mana, but we have Fable of the Mirror Breaker, which is basically blue mana. So, basically we're golden. Expressive Iteration continues to not be the most impressive card. No! That should take Shatterskull Smashing to deny me my 3rd land, because they can't actually deny me anything else meaningfully. Okay, taking the blue card when I don't have blue mana is wrong, but I will accept it. Innkeeper's Infinite Life with Kiki. It's not infinite life. Oh, it is, isn't it? Huh. No, it's not. It's... because you don't get to make infinite Kikis. You get 1 Innkeeper. Because you have to tap the Kiki-Jiki to activate it. Alright, so the Welcoming Vampire is going to be awkward. There will be some card advantage that in the short term I cannot handle. Alright, let's go ahead and lose 1 mountain. And then we discover whether the opponent forgot that they already saw the Overcharged Amalgam, and therefore the Wandering Emperor is not actually going to resolve. And also they let me get this treasure token, which was cool. They didn't need to, but I appreciate it. It was polite of them. Alright, so this means the opponent has another Wandering Emperor that they want to uptick, which is fine, because I can just Fading Hope the Welcoming Vampire after the uptick. Alright, well, let's just put this Overcharged Amalgam back in hand. We don't get to Scry, which is kind of a bummer, but I kind of value the Overcharged Amalgam when we were about to flip a Kiki-Jiki. Alright, and let's just go ahead and develop the other Fable of the Mirror Breaker, get it ticking down. On the off chance the opponent answers this Kiki-Jiki. Foretold a card in white-black. I actually have no idea what that is. I guess it's possible they decided to run Doomscar in their list? But that would be strange. Alright, well, let's just sit here and not do anything for a while. Because I'm currently holding up 2 counterspells. And don't see a reason why I would need to do anything. I think it's the X White Angels card. Maybe. Okay, so that just hits my token. Am I okay with that? I'm probably okay with that. I mean, that's, I guess, a little rude. I could counter it by sacking the token, but I probably shouldn't. Yeah, you can't target Kiki-Jiki. It actually has a CMC of 3. 'Tis still the saga. Yep. Transform cards are... I got errated at some point that the backside has the same CMC as the front side. I don't remember when that got errated, but it did get errated. Okay, well, we're just gonna pass it on here, let that happen. Don't want them to be able to remove that Kiki-Jiki in response to me playing Overcharged Amalgam. Okay, so we can Expressive Iteration now, because I have enough mana, that's fine. Ooh, alright. I'll just go ahead and take another Overcharged Amalgam and get this land drop. Recently? No, I think shortly after Magic Origins, if I recall correctly. No attacks, my life total is under no pressure. Ooh, blue mana. Fancy. Half tempted to just play Overcharged Amalgam and block Welcoming Vampire. But then I'm in trouble if they have 2 removal spells, and honestly, why would I need to give them that opening? So instead, let's just bounce the Welcoming Vampire. I get to scry. Good, because I didn't want to land anyway. Welcoming Vampire. Okay. And let's go ahead and copy Overcharged Amalgam. Then resolve this little exploity. And then counter this Welcoming Vampire. Yep. And that's the point where the opponent can't do anything anymore. 2 mana, they can remove one of my creatures, but I've got a duplicate Overcharged Amalgam anyway. So it shouldn't matter. Do I need full control for this? I don't know, but I got kind of hosed with the way that if you don't have full control, you don't get priority before your Kiki-Jikis sacrifice themselves at the end of turn, which occasionally you want. So I kind of just got in the oh, I should have probably sideboarded. Whatever. I got in the habit of holding full control with this deck whenever anything weird with Kiki-Jiki is happening. Mostly just like as a healthy reflex rather than strictly being necessary. I think it was changed second time at Innistrad? That might be the case. I forget exactly when it was changed, how CMC worked. Yep, well, this is a 2-drop, a 3-drop, and a 4-drop, so we're going to keep. Aha! Joke's on you, opponent. I have no duressable cards. These are all creatures, even though most of them are spells. No! Portable hole. That means I can't play my Glasspool Mimic. How rude. The trouble is that every single set is a flip set nowadays, so that doesn't really narrow it down as much as it used to. Welcoming Vampire. Okay. Presumably we also have a land drop? Yes. More Glasspool Mimics. Alright, well... guess I'm just gonna play this Calamity Bearer. And then it gets removed. Vanishing Verse is an effective removal spell. These Welcoming Vampires from the opponent have not been the most impressive cards thus far. I think I can probably go ahead and play this first Glasspool Mimic out. I think there's a higher chance that I'm going to want Shatterskull Smashing than a Glasspool Mimic. And I think there's a higher chance I'm going to want 6 mana on the next turn cycle. Oh, more Vanishing Verses. How rude. Ooh, wow. More Glasspool Mimics. I'm sort of tempted to just fire up Den of the Bugbear, but that's probably giving my opponent too much opportunity to get value out of Welcoming Vampire. Which I'm probably just supposed to answer, and then... I doubt my opponent can play too many Dry Disruptions, but I should probably try to play around it. Now we find out if the opponent's boarded in Negate or Disdainful Stroke, both of which would probably be wrong, but they did board in Duress, so anything's possible. Yeah, Disdainful Stroke is definitely not correct for them to have boarded in. I do not have very many cards that hits. But, alright, Welcoming Vampire gets Welcoming Vampire. That is strong. Definitely flooding out a bit here, which is a concern. I could fire up Den and swing, but odds are with the way the opponent's been playing this, they probably have more Disdainful Strokes. They know about the Overcharged Amalgam, which I think kind of prices me into attacking with the Den of the Bugbear here. Pretty harsh. This is a bad spot for me to be in. Happily, they didn't block the 1/1 for free. Okay, they portable hole to kill a 1/1. I'm super happy with that. If they don't have a way to start going off with these Welcoming Vampires, that makes me very happy. Sweet. Alright, Suspicious Stowaway. doing this before attacking to play around Jwari Disruption. I guess I could... I'm probably actually just supposed to pass here and not fire up Den and attack with Den, or... Nah, I mean, playing Glasspool Mimic's really tempting, though. Huh. Okay, I'm probably not supposed to hold up Overcharged Amalgam because I'm reading my opponent as being on Disdainful Stroke here anyway. If it's Wandering Emperor, I've already lost. So, thankfully it's not. Wandering Emperor there, down-ticking to make a 2-2, drawing 2, and then going to their turn, down-ticking to make another 2-2 and drawing 2 more is just something I'm not equipped to beat. Alright. Right, that Stowaway doesn't transform. Harsh. Infernal Grasp. I should probably Overcharged Amalgam this. We can sack the Stowaway, that doesn't really matter. To keep the Seafaring Werewolf, it does. Then we draw a card, and now I have to debate whether I want to copy an Overcharged Amalgam to have blockers for Welcoming Vampire, which I probably don't, or just copy Seafaring Werewolf, which turns it back to Day. I could also just play Fable. So if they have a removal spell for Overcharged Amalgam, copying Overcharged Amalgam is the best option, because it stops me from dying in 2 turns. If they don't have any removal options, then copying Seafaring Werewolf is probably best, but maybe not necessarily better than playing Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Alright, let's go with Fable. I think getting this ticking down gives me the best chance to win if they don't draw anything interactive in the next 2 draw steps. Or 3 draw steps? It was the 3rd Vanishing Verse. Harsh. Okay. So now I'm in a lot of trouble and probably can't win. Expressive Iteration is good, though. Mindlink Mech is also good. Now I need one more way to deal with a flyer. Other Mindlink Mech counts? Yeah, I think so. Would I rather have a land or Flame Blessed Bolt? I can't actually attack here, come to think of it. So I'm still dead to a removal spell. Alright, no removal spell. Good start. Okay, Fable transforms. That's a good start. So now I can do the Kiki loops to just continuously have a ton of flying blockers. So I get to attack with these 2. If they block the 2-2, I get to Flame Blast Bolt to kill 1 vampire. I wonder if I should have fired up Den. No, because I didn't know what I was going to draw into. Okay. Overcharged Amalgam should mean we win now. Do I have enough mana to do this cleanly? Yes. I believe so. I believe I have exactly enough mana to do this cleanly. Oh no. This is still going to be a creature, right? I hope this is a creature. I think Mindlink Mech turns it into a creature, so it's not a land. Yes, okay. I thought that was how that worked, but for a second there, I got absolutely horrified that maybe it wasn't. And now I still have Overcharged Amalgam as protection. Which is also another blocker, which means I just get to go to blocking and block both of these. Alright, I think they possibly had a way to kill me there, but I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. Alright, take the play, Yeah, I mean, it's still turn 3 Fable of the Mirror Breaker, which I don't think I'm ever allowed to mulligan. But it's clunky. Oh well. Have you played with Kiki-Jiki and Dominating Vampire for the untap on Kiki? I have not. That is kind of interesting. So one card combo with Kiki instead of needing multiple combo cards with Kiki. It's moderately interesting. Moderately interesting. I don't think that there's anything in this deck that I would cut for it. Like Expressive Iteration and Overcharged Amalgam are probably the cards that I'm like the most ho-hum about. I mean, technically, if you didn't want to do the Calamity Bearer combo, but I think Mindlink Mech is so strong with Fable of the Mirror Breaker that it's just kind of worth including on its own merits. And once you've done that, I think Calamity Bearer is just super worth playing. Yeah, I think that could be a really interesting direction to take, like red-black Kiki in Standard, if you were looking to play more vampires that synergize with Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Because the 2-drop 3/2 that makes a blood token when it enters already synergizes really well with Fable of the Mirror Breaker. So I have no objection to playing more cards that are good. So am I going to play this Riverglide Pathway on blue or red? Definitely red now that I drew Hall of the Storm Giants. Lithiform Engine in white-blue Ingenious Smith. Moonsnare prototype. Alright, shenaniganry is afoot. Can Moonsnare prototype attack creatures? No. Or creatures, yes. Artifact or creature. So they could just play Lithiform Engine that turn if they wanted to, but they don't appear to want to. No! Portable Hole! I needed that for casting Calamity Bearer next turn. That's actually really inconvenient to my curve opponent. Rude. Okay, well, let's get rid of Expressive Iteration and I guess Hall of the Storm Giants now. Because I think my next couple of turns are probably just going to be playing Calamity Bearers. How many removal spells do we expect a blue-white opponent to have that hit Calamity Bearer, I wonder? There's a Lithiform Engine. So the opponent can crew up Reckoner Bankbuster to have a 4/4 to block Calamity Bearer now. Or they could just decide to do 4 damage and take 12. I'm okay with that too. I guess they don't know that they're going to take 12. We know they're going to take 12. Alright, let's shock, play Calamity Bearer, hold up Fading Hope. Hit the opponent for 12, put them to 8, pass the turn. Next turn we're going to attack for a lot. So hopefully for the opponent they have some interaction. I mean, they got a Lithiform Engine. That's something. Doomscar. That's rude. Alright, let's put Reflection back in our hand. That lets us play Reflection and Stowaway. I don't think I want to draw a land here. Do I want to play Fable rather than Stowaway? Or rather, do I want to play Expressive Iteration rather than Stowaway? That's probably correct to do. Ooh, okay. Glasspool Mimic and a land. Glasspool Mimic gets really interesting if we ever get around to making a Calamity Bearer token with Reflection of Kiki and then copying it with Glasspool Mimic so it has haste. Could happen eventually to Fairy, who doesn't really do anything. They probably wanted to cast that using Moonsnare Prototype, but Auto Tapper did not assist them in that endeavor. Opponent gains a little bit of life. No! My token! I want to make mana, opponent! I want to make mana! Let's see. Let's get rid of Stormcarved Coast, and I think I keep the rest of this. More Glasspool Mimics, huh? Awkward. Alright, well, I guess we play Calamity Bearer then and see what happens. I don't really want to expose that to more removal spells, but I guess if the opponent removes the Calamity Bearer now, that means that they're not using a board wipe when the Kiki-Jiki is flipped.
I don't want to spoil the surprise.
Is there a Hinata deck with the Red Saga? I don't really think so. Fable of the Mirror Breaker wants you to have a bunch of valuable creatures, and Hinata incentivizes you to do the exact opposite in deck building. No, they did find Doomscar. How disappointing. Playing out the Moonsnare prototype in this situation feels weird. But, okay. Why not? So if I play out Glasspool Mimic... Hey, Aaron Gertler. Thanks for the raid. How'd your stream go? You join us playing Mindlink Mech and Calamity Bearer in combination with a bunch of copy effects. It's great fun. So if I play the Glasspool Mimic on the Kiki-Giants, I expose myself to more board wipes. I insulate myself from single target removal, and I'm not holding up Otawara. I think I'm probably supposed to still go in here. I don't think holding up Otawara in this position is meaningful enough, but I don't think that I'm supposed to play out the other Glasspool Mimic. Where there's two Doomscars, there's probably a third. Alright, Kiki forces Teferi to down tick. I'm assuming they probably want to copy this with Lithoform Engine. I also assume they probably wanted to use Moonsnare prototype for that, but I will accept them not doing so. Oh, wait, that's interesting. Does that let you choose new targets? So if you use Lithoform Engine to... If you use Teferi who slows the sunset to untap a Lotus Field with a Lithoform Engine in play, is that infinite mana and infinite life? I think it is. It's also gain 2 life per 1 mana you have. So like if you copy the uptick, keep untapping the same land over and over, and keep untapping Lithoform Engine over and over, and then reactivating Lithoform Engine, you lose 1 mana per activation but gain 2 life? Huh. That's actually an interesting way to fight, like, red-black life drain. I mean, it still requires you to have a Lithoform Engine in play, which is asking a lot. Especially at the same time as a 4-drop that also occupies the same spot on the curve. So Nico does, what, 2 damage right now? But to a tapped creature. Oh, so they actually can't do anything with that. Okay. Meaning... Let's see. Do I have enough mana for lethal here? I don't think so. I have a lot of different ways to deal 8 damage. I assume I'm probably supposed to kill the 2 planeswalkers then. Do I have any way to kill the 2 planeswalkers while leaving an untapped Kiki? Not while leaving an untapped Kiki that is non-summoning sick, I don't believe. Which is awkward. So I'm assuming they just crack the shard token here. Oh wait, could I have done it if I played Otawara as a land? No, that still only gets me 8 damage. So what I could do is crew Mindlink Mech with Kiki-Giants, use the other Kiki-Giants to make a copy of that Mindlink Mech, so that I get a 4/3 flyer with haste, and then play Glasspool Mimic, copying the 4/3 flyer with haste, but that still only does 8 damage at the opponent's face. I think I'm still supposed to hold everything else. Still in a rough spot to Doomscar. I'm probably just in a rough spot in general to Lithoform Engine at this point. And I've used up almost all of my Calamity Bearers. In fact, I think I might have used up actually all of them. Do I have 3 or 4? I got 4. Okay, so I do have 1 more Calamity Bearer that I could draw. Okay, Fable's strong. So I can play Fable, copy that token with Mindlink Mech. I technically have lethal if the opponent has no interaction here. I just very much doubt they have no interaction. Well, I guess it doesn't really hurt to try. How much does Moonsnare? Moonsnare costs... No, Moonsnare costs as much as they have, because they have this Alestis over there. March of Otherworldly Light. Can I... Is the Mindlink Mech already triggered once? They have 1 additional mana currently. They can't copy that card with March. So if I crew Mindlink Mech now, it doesn't become a copy of Kiki-Giants. It just becomes a 4/3. Then I could copy the Mindlink Mech. I assume I'm not supposed to do that. Okay. I think then, at this point, I'm just supposed to play Otawara as a land and pass to my opponent's turn with the 4-mana Kiki loop up. Tezzeret. Okay, that doesn't really matter a ton. They can downtick it and then copy the downtick with a Lithoform engine to end up with 2 4/4s, which isn't enough to stop me from killing them yet.
Many consider my tactics cruel.
We don't have to remember full control right now because we don't have any Kiki tokens in play. That's what usually makes things weird. Yeah, so they can do that, copy that, make the other one into a 4/4. They have 3 mana held up. Oh, that's free with Tezzeret. Okay, they have 5 mana held up. Oh, that's representing Moonsnare prototype.
My toy, this is what real progress looks
But I can play Glasspool Mimic as a hasty Kiki-Giants copy. So I think that means they still need more than 1 removal spell here. I believe. Alright, attackers. Okay. Opponents attacking. Can they kill me here? If they can kill me here, I'm interested to see how. I should probably make a blocker here and just jump block 1, but this feels educational. Okay. Well, how do you stop me from killing you, opponent, or did you just not realize that my cards do this? Boop. 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 Uh-huh. Alright. Well, hopefully they don't have Wandering Emperor. So we play this Glasspool Mimic, and it's a hasty 2/2. Whee! Ah, this deck's delightfully dumb. You love to see it. Okay, so we're playing against blue-white control with Artifact sub-theme. Means I probably want to play Annul. I probably want to play Disdainful Strokes, and I probably want to play Malevolent Hermits, and not really Fading Hopes, and not really Flameless Bolts. And then, presumably, I'm also supposed to cut something else. What that something else is, I don't know. Yeah, there is just something about this deck that doesn't get very dull, does it? Liked it better when we were playing the deck that can't win? What, you're saying it's less entertaining to play a deck that can't lose? I kind of agree. It is slightly less entertaining. What do we think is supposed to be the cut here? I need 3 cuts. There's a very strong chance that it's supposed to be Overcharged Amalgam, but, like, that seems wrong. What if we just cut expensive cards? It's probably the correct decision. When in doubt against control, just play cheaper things. I'm probably not supposed to be playing 3 Annuls, in all honesty. The opponent did not have a lot of high-impact targets for Annul, and it doesn't actually hit the planeswalkers that actually matter. But... oh well. These cards are cards that I can play on curve, so we're going to keep them. Nice thing about cutting all the expensive cards to play tons of low-cost cards is at least most of my hands will curve out reasonably. Oh, so I did have another idea that I have not managed to throw up on stream yet that might make it into a future day's idea. It occurred to me that the new 1-drop that what does it even do? It's a 1-drop, 1-mana instant in white. I meant to say white and said 1 mana instead, as if that isn't the same thing as a 1-drop. Exiles target creature and then puts a random creature of lower converted mana cost from that player's deck into play. It occurs to me that if you play Gigantha in your Hinata list as your companion in Historic, you can use that 1 mana instant to turn your Gigantha companion into a Hinata. Fragment Reality, yeah, that's the one. So, like, that seems moderately cute. Sweet, it's not a Sod coming, which means it's a Doomscar. I was thinking about doing it with Yorion, but the problem with that is then you have much more reliable access to Hinata, but you don't have very reliable access to... do I want to keep all the Stormgiants around? I probably don't want this Glasspool Mimic, but I probably do want all the Stormgiants. But you don't draw Magma Opus very reliably then, is the trouble. You can have Windfall, that's true, but I don't think you really need that terribly much in the Historic version. Yeah. Wandering Emperor makes a 2/2, blocks the 2/2. Harsh.
Guards, to me.
Okay, I don't hate this a ton, just because it does let me play the other Fable without overextending into the sweeper here. I could have played the Sokenzan and killed the Wandering Emperor with Shatterskull Smashing. I'm just not super convinced that that's the correct move.
We must protect the people.
Let's go ahead and get rid of Riverglide Pathway, I guess. Alright, Disdainful Stroke is stellar. Sweet, 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 sweet. Okay, let's get some more treasures. Swing at the Wandering Emperor. Presume that the Wandering Emperor gets saved by a chump blocked 2/2, which I'm okay with. And we Shatterskull the Emperor for 1. Holding up Disdainful Stroke on the board wipe. Don't want to actually use treasures if I don't have to. And then we have... we'll need to top deck a land here in order to go Calamity Bearer, copy Calamity Bearer, play Glasspool Mimic for a clean 6, 12, 24... hasty 48 damage, something like that. Ooh, alright. Harsh but fair. Scythe, thanks for the follow. Glad you're enjoying the stream.
Show them how we greet our enemies.
What you got for me here, opponent? 2 cards left in hand. I don't think I'm that terribly afeared. I am annoyed if they kill the reflection with something that I can't Disdainful Stroke, I suppose. Oh, no. Huh. Yeah, I guess we'll put that on top. The real problem here is that I can't Disdainful Stroke that removal spell. another chance to draw an untapped land. We're still kind of insulated against a board wipe, which I assume is what they're going to cast first. No. Portable? Why? Wait, what is this? You're telling me that that's not Doomscar? It's some other foretold card?
May your blades
Weird.
true.
I don't think it saw it coming. No. Oh, wait, we gotta try again. Okay. Suspicious Stowaway, go away. Untap land. No, it's just a Disdainful Stroke. How rude. Alright, well, let's go ahead and play Calamity Bearer then. And I guess we might as well force the opponent to chump block with that 2/2. Actually, let's go after the Emperor. Iron Verdict? I guess it could be Iron Verdict. Starnheim, I guess? I mean, that's like also not a good card in a position where I have 2 Disdainful Strokes, so I suppose I'm fine with that. Alright, opponent down ticks Wandering Emperor to make a chump blocker. After board wiping? No. Okay.
Strike fast and strike hard.
They just didn't even consider a world in which I don't have a counterspell. I guess they wanted to uptick the Wandering Emperor if the board was gone. They weren't going to downtick after the Doomscar. But yeah, now the game is over. You can also choose to Wandering Emperor upticking on nothing. You don't have to target one of my creatures. How much damage was that going to be? Assuming we didn't top deck anything else. Copy Calamity Bearer, play Glasspool Mimic, 2, 4, 8, 10 times 8. Alright, so 80 damage. 80 damage is cool. I can dig 80 damage.